Hey everyone, I'm Jordan Banderas, the host of the Bad Influence podcast, and I thought I'd influence you badly with today's episode. But before we get started, don't forget to smash the subscribe or follow button so you don't miss out on any episodes. So let's get started. Now, I have often heard people say that they want the perfect fairy tale relationship when they first get together with someone. And in my experience, I thought that's what I was going to get when I first got married. I was like, it's going to be like in the soap operas or telenovelas since I'm Mexican, and that's why I grew up watching because of my mom. But it wasn't quite like that. Now, don't get me wrong, but my wife and I started quite happy. But as I have mentioned before, my wife became quite ill shortly after we got married. It happened within the first 2 years of our marriage. And because of all the medical bills, we had to move in with her parents. And after that, things went downhill. Let's be honest, it went downhill. She kept getting sicker and sicker. Now, because of this experience, I honestly wish people will see that things are not always going to be perfect from the start, because marriage and relationships are not easy. Don't you think? Because there will always be ups and downs. And I'm not trying to be a downer, but I say this because it took us years of work to get our relationship to where it is right now. And when people ask me how we did it, I honestly have no problem opening up about it. Which is typically hard for a man because we tend to be very private with our issues. We want to pretend that everything is rosy and everything. We don't even want to talk about our issues, right? But some of us like to complain about our partners. Let's be honest. I have heard so many complaints from guys and girls too about their partners. So, because of my own experience with my relationship, one thing that I like to do when I hear people complaining about their relationships is that I ask them if they are willing to put in the work to make the relationship successful instead of breaking up or getting a divorce, which is obviously, I think, in my opinion, the last resort. But before you get to that point, you have to try different things to see if it's going to work out or not. Don't just give up on the first problem or anything like that. Because it takes deep conversations about how to fix the problems you're having as a couple. And it also takes being vulnerable with each other and not attacking each other or using those vulnerabilities against the other person, which is something that happens in relationships. I have seen it. I used to do it, and I have been in relationships where the other people would actually do that. That's why a lot of us have trust issues and don't like to open up, because we don't want to be attacked with those vulnerabilities that when we open up to the other person. So when I ask people if they are doing that, most of the time the answer is simply no. And when I hear that answer, I'm like, you can't have a good, healthy, working relationship if you won't even try, homie. That's exactly how I say it. Because you both have to try. You do have to try at least. But people tell me that they don't know what to do. They're like, Jordan, I don't know what to do. I try to listen, I try to do all these things, but they always blame it on the other person. But a relationship is two people, so you guys have to work together, right? And another thing that I do when people tell me that they don't know what to do, I'm like, look, I am living proof that if you try, you can make it work. Because when we were living with my wife's parents, I realized that it wasn't just about me. Because I didn't like it, And my wife didn't like it at all because we didn't have privacy. We didn't have any privacy at all. My in-laws could hear everything we were doing downstairs. Same thing with my sister-in-law. So there was no privacy pretty much. So it was about the two of us. And because of this, I came to the conclusion that we needed to unite and work together to get out of there and rebuild our lives together, which is pretty much the ultimate goal of anybody going through something similar, right? And because of this realization, I also noticed that my relationship was suffering because of my emotional issues as well. So I decided to go to personal therapy for months. And I mean months. It was like a year and a half at least. And I also worked on myself, which almost no man wants to do. At least a lot of the men that I know, they don't want to do it. When I tell them, you should work on yourself and your issues, they're like, no, I don't need to do that. And I'm like, hey, that's your decision. But in my case, it was worth it. Because I didn't want to give up on my relationship. Now, going to therapy helped me understand the emotional baggage that I was bringing into the situation. And I realized that I wanted my wife to carry it for me, which was totally wrong because that's not her baggage to carry. It was mine and I had to get rid of it. Another thing that I did was work on being able to speak English. And I mean, I work hard on this. I had to understand that my English was bad and that I wasn't able to say exactly what I wanted to say because I didn't know the right words, because my vocabulary was so small. So after working on my issues for quite a while, Katie and I had a big fight one day. We were screaming at each other. We were going at it. We were literally like going at each other's throats. So after we were done fighting, I cooled off and I was like, you know what? I need to do something about this. We need to do something about this. So I talked to Katie and asked her to go to couples counseling with me because we needed to learn how to work as a team and learn each other's communication styles. Because I am very blunt and my wife felt like I was attacking her all the time. And she's not blunt like me. She's very caring and, like she's way different than me. So we were clashing a lot. And we were also under so much pressure because of our living situation. So we needed to work as a team to get through everything we were going through. Like paying all the bills, being able to find a place to live, being able to get to that place pretty much. So going to this kind of therapy was fucking hard. Because let's be honest, we all want to be right. Especially when it comes to winning arguments. Or am I wrong? You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to be wrong when it comes to an argument because we don't like to lose. And it feels, I don't know, yucky when you lose an argument. You're like, Urgh! You get mad or you get sad. That's how I am at least. And I know I want to be right all the time, but that can't happen, unfortunately. And what I have noticed is that most of us don't know that much about how to address the problems that arise in our relationships. This is most likely because we didn't have the best examples growing up, which was what happened in my case. So I'm talking out of personal experience. So if you ever go to couples counseling and you hear your therapist say you're in the wrong, you know and you will feel like it's a punch in the stomach. Like fucking Mike Tyson used you as a punching bag. And not a lot of people can take that. I'm not gonna lie. There were times when I wanted to quit couples therapy because it felt like the therapist was taking sides. But I realized that was not the case because I had no problem questioning what he was saying, and he was able to explain to me why I was in the wrong. And when he will hit me with the facts as to why I was wrong, I was like, okay, that makes sense now. I know why I'm doing wrong. So pretty much I will take the L for the team when it was warranted. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the L. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to do better pretty much. Now, I do need to say that the therapy alone didn't make my relationship better, which is what many people tell me will save their relationship. But what made my relationship better was what we were doing after the sessions. Because on the drives home, we will have a safe space and talk about how we felt about each other. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it because it was fucking hard initially, since we both needed to let our guards down and not take offense to anything we say to each other. Then we had the language barrier because, as I have mentioned, my English wasn't good. And we also had to learn not to raise our voices so we wouldn't trigger each other and start a fight, which is something that we didn't want to do. Now, having a relationship like ours was hard back then. But we learned not to get others involved in our struggles and had to resolve issues between the two of us without getting anyone else involved. You know what I mean? Like, before you resolve your problems with your partner, you go and complain about it with your mom, a friend, a family member. So you're going to get a biased opinion because you're giving them your side. They're not hearing the other person's side. So in my experience, that doesn't help. And I'm not gonna I have never done that. I don't like to involve people in my life. And one thing that I am going to say is that by doing this, my relationship has actually thrived because it worked. Doing all of this, it worked. And right now, we are actually almost 9 years strong. And let me tell you, we have been to hell and back. The journey has been hard, but it was necessary. At least I feel like it. So if you see me thriving in my relationship and posting and talking about it, I don't do it to brag. I do it because I'm proud of the hard work that we have had to do to get to this point. And in the end, putting in the work pays off. And you can do it too. But both of you must be willing to make it work, because the fairy tale life wears off because real life takes over eventually. Unfortunately, that's one thing that's going to happen in any relationship. And I also think that more people should be honest about it and work for it instead of giving up so easily. I know you can do it too. Because it all begins with a baby step that you must take with your partner. So you must take that step. Just take the first step. And you will see that your relationship will actually start to get better because there will be better communication. There won't be as many arguments because either one of you will be able to, say like, you know what? We're getting too heated. Let's work on this. Let's calm down. There's gonna be one of the two people in the relationship that is gonna be able to calm the other person down. My wife is the one that calms me down, and I'm the one that calms her down because we learn each other's communication styles. And like I said, it has worked a lot. I know that a lot of people are always like looking at my relationship. Like a lot of people that I know, they're always looking at my relationship and saying like, oh, I don't know how you did it. Well, this is how I fucking did it. This is how me and Katie, my wife, have been able to been together for the last almost 9 years through literally thick and thin. And like I said, you can do it too, but you have to put in the work. And it's hard, but it's worth it in the end, because once you make it work like that, once you have that kind of relationship where you can resolve the issues, conversate about the problems, you will realize that your relationship is so fucking strong that you can talk about anything and not even get upset. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys in today's episode. Leave your thoughts about this topic in the comments, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And you can send me a DM on social media or email me at bjordanthebadinfluence@gmail.com. And I leave you with this. You and your partner are the only ones that can help your relationship, but both of you must be willing to take the wins and losses to get through the hard times. And also, have a great day.